In our previous lesson, we were able to create a form and take values from the form and display it. So our form was student form, and then we used welcome.jsp to display it. So we had these two views. If you look at our controller, we created student form and two controllers for student form for the get and the post, and we had a when we posted it, we used the model and view, we used the view welcome, and we were able to display it. Now a question a lot of students have is that we had this view for welcome, we had this controller for welcome. Now why did it display the right values and why did it not display these values? So why is it that this controller did not get fired when we now in the model and view called welcome? So let us just understand it once by running it. So I will run it for the case wherein my redirect.jsp is going to student form, which is the form from where we started. So let me just run that, which is what we had done in our last lesson. And we will just put in our values. So let us put this name as Tim Martin, age 31, and course as say hibernate. And when I submit the details, it is giving me Tim Martin, age 31, and hibernate. Now if I change my redirect.jsp and make the starting point say welcome.html. Now what do we expect happening here? Because we're starting from welcome.html, we expect the controller to get fired, which means we should see these values: Bill Smith, 25, and Spring Hibernate. Let us just run it to check. Now when I run it, as we expected, we're getting the name Bill Smith, age 25, and course Spring Hibernate. So what was happening? So when we created this model and view for welcome, why did it not show these values Bill Smith, 25, and Spring Hibernate? But on the post, it showed us the right values. So the reason for this is that it is happening at the controller here. So when we called it in our redirect.jsp and we said welcome as a starting step, that is when the controller got fired and the controller mapped it back to this starting point, and the view this returned was welcome as the view, and the object it gave to st object was st1. When we were doing the method post, this is where the controller got fired. It mapped it to student form method post, and what is happening in this case now is that we are returning the view welcome. Now this does not mean that when we are returning the view welcome, the controller will get fired. The controller has already gotten fired by making us reach here, and we are just returning the view welcome. Now there is no reason why it should fire this controller now, which is why we are now getting the current values. So this is a very important thing, that we just returning a view here and it can continue to do it. So another way to look at it is I could just map this view here welcome to say dummy student. So let me call this mapping value as say dummy student, and then what I'll do is in my redirect.jsp I'll make my starting point as say dummy student.html. Let me run this and let us see what will happen. Now when I am running dummy student.html, it is giving me the values name Bill Smith, age 25, and course Spring Hibernate. Why? So when I called dummy student.html, it got mapped to our dispatcher servlet, and the dispatcher servlet in this controller called this controller with the request mapping value as dummy student, which means it got mapped here. And the moment it got mapped here, it returned this view welcome with this object. So it did not matter. It is not necessary that the value and the model value coincide. So like in this case, the value that we got here from the controller was student form, but the view was welcome. So this will clear our doubt that Why in this case in the model and view we're just getting the view welcome. This is not a call to the controller. So here we had the dummy student and the dummy student gave us the values that we wanted it to show.